Welcome to the Bible Show on evolutionpop.com. I'm your host, Jeff Hudson. This is the Bible Show where we read. That's right, we read it, the scripture directly from the Bible. Not what your pastor said, not what your imam said, not what your bishop said, none of that stuff. Not what you think the Bible says. No, not what you think it says. What does it actually say? Today's lesson, the sons of Noah, part 1, Japheth. I've been trying to do this for a while. I was going to try and do like all three sons, Japheth, Ham, and Shem. And basically, I just wanted to go to what the locations of these three sons are, what the nations are that these people are, that these sons, the people that these sons actually fathered. Japheth, Shem, and Ham, they are the sons of Noah, which you all know, or maybe you don't know, but it's in the Bible. We're going to read it. We're going to read about a little bit about the flood and the genealogy before we get into the line of Japheth here and where their location is and what the nations are today of some of the names of the sons of Japheth. So why don't we just go ahead and get into it? And by the way, it's going to have to be a part 2 to the Japheth one. I didn't get to the sons of Javan. Javan had 4 sons that are mentioned. We're going to start this out in Genesis chapter 5. Genesis chapter 5. We'll pick it up at verse 1. We're going to read verses 1 through 8. Then we're going to skip down to verse 28. Genesis chapter 5, verse 1. And this is the sons of Noah, part 1, Japheth, the elder son. We'll find out he's the eldest too. There's some question about that too, but let's get into it. Genesis chapter 5, verse 1. And what time is it? Well, I'm sorry about the late start. All right. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them and blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness after his image and called his name Seth. Now, when you think about Adam and Eve, hey, Jonathan. When you think about Adam and Eve, everyone always thinks about Cain and Abel. Cain being the firstborn, Abel being the second son, and Cain slaying Abel. No one really thinks about Seth. Yeah, so Cain got, God punished him. But Adam and Eve went on and had another son, and his name is Seth. And that is where the line of the children of God come from. And that's where the descendants, all the way down to Jesus, come from, through this line of Seth. Let's keep going. Verse 4. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. Got sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years. Can you imagine living 930 years? Because people don't even live 100 years today. You're lucky if you get it to 80, right? 930. 930 years, and he died. One thing about this, no one lived 1,000 years, though. The oldest person, according to the Bible, was Methuselah, who lived to be 969 years old. But no one made it to 1,000. And 1,000 years to the Lord is as a day. And what did he tell Adam and Eve? In this day you shall surely perish. You shall surely die after you disobeyed and spoke with Satan. Verse 6. And Seth lived 105 years and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years and begat sons and daughters. So everyone, see all this lineage here, we're picking out just one of the sons in the lineage, but they all had sons and daughters, who also had sons and daughters, who also had sons and daughters. So the earth was populated. There was the argument that the earth was populated back here before the flood. Before Noah, earth was populated with just as many people as it is today. Now, we don't live as long as they did. I think this side of the flood has been going on longer, but we don't live as long. But they lived 900 years. So how many kids can you have in 900 years? Okay. Verse 8. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. Now you get the idea here. We're going through the lineage. We started with Adam, after God created Adam, and we're going through all the sons. Adam had Seth. Seth had Enos. Enos had Canaan, different Cain, different guy. Cainan. We're going to skip all the way down to verse 28. All the way down to verse 28. Genesis chapter 5, verse 28, because we want to get to Noah. Verse 28. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son. And Lamech called his name Noah. Jonathan, you have to be quiet, man. Jonathan, be quiet. Go back in the room. Don't start, man. Don't start. Don't start. Okay? I'm going to give you another chance. Verse 28. Don't tell me no. Genesis chapter 5, verse 28. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son, and he called his name Noah. So Lamech is the father of Noah, saying, this same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. So there's something a little special about Noah here. Verse 30. And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 770. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. 877 years, and he died. Verse 32. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So that's where we get the three sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. No, you know, it just says Noah had three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. He didn't have any other sons after that. Maybe he did have sons and daughters, and they didn't make it through the flood. These are the three that made it over the flood. It doesn't say. So this is not what the book says. This is what Jeff just said there, okay? It says Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. That's what it says. So anything else I put on there was just Jeff's opinion, all right? Now, let's go to verse 6. So skip right over to verse 6, the next chapter over. We're going to start right at verse 1. This is about the flood. You know, so we know that all those people in Noah's days, everybody that was on the earth, like I said, they all had sons and daughters, and those sons and daughters had sons and daughters. They were living like 900 years, right? 800 something years plus, right? So how many kids did they have? All those people, everyone, all those sons and daughters were drowned in the flood. Only 8 people survived. So think about today. All the people that we have on the earth today, God kills everybody. This is right. God killed them. God kills everybody except 8 people. Wouldn't that be something? They don't say it couldn't happen. It happened, according to this book. All right, Genesis chapter 6. Verse 1. I'm going to read 1 through 14. It's going to be about God destroying man. Verse 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men. Now, a lot of people say these sons of God here are like the fallen angels. I beg to differ. The sons of God here is that lineage that we just read that goes back to Adam. Those are men looking at other men's daughters. Verse 2. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. And fair just means pretty. You know. And they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. So right there, God cuts man's days from like 900 to 120. That's a big cut. Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days. That's where they get this from. They say, okay, these giants were the sons of the fallen angels. A lot of people still believe it. I disagree. Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. It says men. Verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Now compare that to today. Verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And what kind of societies do we have in the earth today? Is every evil thought or every imagination of man all wicked? Well, anything that goes against the laws and statutes and judgments of God, he calls wicked. So if you're not following the 10 Commandments, if you're like a murderer or a thief or a liar, that's wickedness. There's other laws and statutes. If you're practicing the homosexuality, God sees that as an abomination. That's wickedness. So look at what we have. Look at all the nations that we have today. Are we doing things according to what this book says, or are we not? Wickedness of man. We're back into the same situation. We're back in the days of Noah. Verse 6. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth. It repented the Lord that he even made man. And it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man who I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. God was just upset that he even created man from them. It's like, oh, look, this is not what the plan was at all. Verse 8, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. There's another guy that walked with God. That was Enoch. Enoch, not Enos, Enoch. Go back to Genesis 5 and keep on reading through the lineage of Adam and Seth, and you'll get to Enoch. And you see that he walked with God and was perfect with God, and God took him. So verse 10, and Noah begat 3 sons. Noah begat 3 sons. Here it says 3. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. Now think about the earth today. Is the earth filled with violence today? Not just in these United States. Look at all the countries in the world. How much violence do we have going on? Look at all the wars that are. Look at all the wars that the United States is just in. There's at least 7 wars that the United States is in. We're still in Afghanistan. We're still in Iraq. We're in helping the Saudi Arabia and Yemen. We're in, okay. So the United States is involved in some stuff. That's just the United States. What about other countries? Think about the countries of Africa. How many wars are they in with Africa? Think about Europe. How many wars are going on with you? The United States is going back and forth with the Soviet Union. The United States is going back and forth with Venezuela. Anyway. Verse 11 again, the earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. Now, don't even think about the war. Just think about the violence that goes on. Every weekend here in Chicago, there's some shooting, but not every night. Verse 12, and God looked upon the earth and beheld it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me. For the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Verse 14, make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make it in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. So there we have the beginning of the building of the ark, because God looked down on the earth, saw only wickedness and violence, and man not getting it done correctly. So he said, I'm going to kill everybody. But Noah found favor with him. Noah was perfect. So it's like, I have Noah make this ark, and we'll save Noah and his family. Let's go to Genesis chapter 10. We're going to read one verse, Genesis chapter 10. And we're going to read verse 21. I just want to show here that Japheth is the elder. Genesis chapter 10, and there's an argument about this one too, but anyway. Genesis chapter 10, verse 21. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder. The brother of Japheth, the elder. Even to him were children born. Now this is talking about Shem. You got Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Our topic today is Japheth. I want to show that Japheth is the elder, and here's where it says it. But people take this, and it says, unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Ether, the brother of Japheth, the elder. So is Shem the elder, or is Japheth the elder? The comma comes after Japheth the elder. Some people want to remove that comma because there's places in the Bible where the comma might be in the wrong place. If you remove the comma and put it in another place, and he says, unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, comma, the elder, Shem the elder. That's where they get it from. But I beg to differ. I think there's really is a Japheth the eldest son here. Anyway, let's read it one more time. Genesis chapter 10, verse 21. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, and a lot of people say Eber is where the Hebrew came from, the brother of Japheth the elder, even to him were children born. This was talking about Shem. We'll get into Shem maybe in a couple of weeks. All right, now let's go back to Genesis 9. Genesis chapter 9. We're going to read verse 1, then we're going to skip down to verse 24. Genesis chapter 9, verse 1, and then we're going to skip to 24. Verse 1. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Now, what does replenish mean? I didn't look it up. We can look it up right now. But replenish means to put back something that was so replace what was already there. To replace something that was already there. Let's look it up real quick in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. We'll get the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition. Replenish. And it says, replenish. Let me go back. Oh, it messed me up. Commercial. All right, let's try this once again. Replenish. And it says, Merriam-Webster dictionary, replenish, to fill or build up again. What does again mean? That means something was here before and is gone, so now build it up again. You got a house, or a tornado comes through, wipes out the house, you build it again. Let's replenish the house. That's not really, people don't say let's replenish the house, but replenish my drink. Okay. So you get the idea, to put back again. Let's go to the second definition, to fill with persons or animals, to fill with inspiration or power, to supply fully. So replenish, to put back again. So something must have been here. Well, people were here, right? Before the flood. But if you go back to Adam and Eve, Genesis chapter 2, I believe, where Adam and Eve, God tells them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. So what was here before Adam and Eve? Don't know. This earth has been around for a long, long time. These planets and stars have been around for a long time, longer than man has been here. The animals have been around longer than man has been here. Man was made after all the animals were made. So how long has it been? Don't know. So something was here. And it was gone when Adam and Eve got here. They had to replenish it. They replenished it with some people. So that all got wiped out. So God tells Noah, replenish the Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and replenish the earth again. Just learning something on our way to learn something. Let's get down to verse 29. We're going to Genesis chapter 9, verse 24. Genesis chapter 9, verse 24. And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him. Now, the younger son is Ham. It says it right here who the younger son is, Ham. So we've established that Japheth is the elder. Ham is the younger. So Shem's got to be in the middle. Let's read that again. Verse 24. And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him. If you want to go back and read it, we can. But we'll get to it. 25. And he said, cursed be Canaan. Canaan is a son of Ham. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. And all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. Now let's go back and see where Ham, he's really talking about Ham here. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 9, verse 22. Verse 22, and we'll find out that Ham is the father of Canaan, who Noah had cursed later on in this chapter. Verse 22, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without. So that's why Noah cursed Ham's son, Canaan. That makes me think, was Canaan already here? How did Noah know that Ham was going to have a son named Canaan? Was he already here? Must have been. Either that or he's got some serious foresight after drinking that wine. Okay. All right. Let's go to Genesis 10 now. Genesis chapter 10. And we'll pick it up at verse 1. We're going to read 1 through 5, and then we're going to go back and read just 1 and 2. Okay. 1 through 5 to get all of the sons of Japheth. And then we start talking about who they are and get into the Gentiles, okay? Genesis chapter 10, verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. So everyone got wiped out. You got You got Noah and his wife. You got Shem, Ham, and Japheth and their wives, 8 people. Now, it doesn't say that Noah had any more children. So everyone had to come from Shem, Ham, or Japheth. Everyone on this earth today, a human being, had to come from Shem, Ham, or Japheth. Verse 2. The sons of Japheth. Now, here are the sons of Japheth, and we're going to find out what these nations are. Okay, the sons of Japheth. Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tyrus. Those are the sons of Japheth. Verse 3. And the sons of Gomer. Gomer was the firstborn. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz. You remember the Ashkenazi Jews? Ashkenaz. And Riphath, and Togarmah. Verse 4. And the sons of Javan, Cilicia, and Tarshish. You heard of Tarshish. Kittim, and Dodanim. Verse 5, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands. Wait a minute, the isles of the Gentiles. So Gentiles are descendants of Japheth. Now, when you get to like the New Testament, maybe even in the Old Testament, people might say this. They say that, Gentiles are anyone that's not a so-called, not a Jew, not Jewish, or not an Israelite. No. Gentiles are, well, okay, we'll accept that definition. That's one definition for it, part of the definition. Another definition is that Gentiles are the descendants of Japheth. The descendants of Ham are Hamites. The descendants of Shem are Semites. The descendants of Japheth are Gentiles. That's right. Let's read verse 5 again. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. Then verse 6 goes into Ham, and the sons of Ham, Cush and Mizraim, and Put in Canaan. We'll do that next week if we have time, if I get the lesson together. I think that was a little easier. But let's go back to Genesis chapter 10, verse 2. We're going to read 2. And we're going to look up who those sons are and what those nations are. Then we're going to go back and read 3. Look up what those nations are, those sons are, okay? Okay. Genesis chapter 10, verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog and Madai and Javan and Tubal and Meshech and Tyrus. Now, let's go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary real quick and look up Gentile. And you know, it doesn't say son of Japheth or descendant of Japheth. Let's read it. Merriam-Webster dictionary, Gentile. A person of a non-Jewish nation or of non-Jewish faith. Heathen, pagan, a non-Mormon. Now, where'd that come from, a non-Mormon? So if you're a Mormon, you're not a Gentile? of or relating to the nations at large as distinguished from the Jews. So that's the general definition that people have. Oh, you're a Jew? Okay, then everyone else is a Gentile. So you got people of different nations thinking that you got Hamites thinking they're Gentiles. You got Shemites and Semites thinking that they're Gentiles. No, you're not Gentile. You're not the descendant of Japheth. You're a Semite. You're a Hamite. You're one of those. One of those. That's it. Those are the three. Let's keep going with this definition. It says a non-Mormon of or relating to the nations at large as distinguished from the Jews, of or relating to Christians as distinguished from the Jews, of or related to non-Mormons. So Mormons are Jews. That might be another lesson to do, like some research on the Mormons, because this is my first time hearing that non-Mormons are considered Gentiles. So what are Mormons considered? Are they considered not Gentiles? Well, what are they then? Okay, continuing on, relating to a tribe or clan. Now, that's a little bit better definition, in my opinion. Relating to a tribe or clan. And that's exactly what they are. They relate to Japheth. Okay, let's take a look at Strong's Bible Dictionary of Gentile. Strong's Bible Dictionary is a Hebrew translation for Gentiles, which is H1471. Hebrew translation H1471, and it says a foreign nation, heathen, nation, people. That's what heathen means, by the way. It just means nation. That's all heathen means. It doesn't mean like an evil, unrighteous person, like Esther says on Sanford and Son, heathen. No, it just really means nation. It's a different nation of people. Nothing bad. Continuing on with the Strong's Bible Dictionary's definition. We read it already. Okay. Now, I went to this website, messianicrevolution.com. Messianic-revolution.com. Messianic, MESSIANIC-revolution. Like Prince and a Revolution. .com. And I was looking up who are the descendants of Japheth. So now there's a bunch of stuff. You go on the internet, look up the sons of Japheth or descendants of Japheth. Tons of stuff comes up. I just picked out this one for whatever reason. So they had like a nice little graph, well, not a graph. They had it all listed out there. So I'm like, let's go with this. It's all the rest of them are kind of similar to this. Some have different nations, but they all basically say that the Japhethites or the Gentiles are the descendants are basically Europeans and Caucasians and some Asians. Let's read it. Okay, Gomer. The first son of Japheth, his name was Gomer. Gomer, according to messianic-revolution.com. Gomer. The descendants of Gomer generally settled in what is today Wales and Great Britain. Now, where is Wales and Great Britain? It's in Europe. It's an island off of the mainland of Europe, but it's considered a part of Europe. What kind of people live there? Caucasian people live there. They're Gentiles. That's all it is. Nothing bad, nothing good, just the fact of what it is. This is a nation of people. These Gentiles are a people that came from the son of Japheth. Let's look at Magog. Magog. The descendants of Magog became the Russian peoples. Who is Russia? It's in Europe. Madai. The descendants of Madai became the Medes. And the Medes are Russians too. They might have been a little bit, maybe all of Russia wasn't put together in the same spot. But the Medes are what's today Russia. If you read the Bible back in Daniel, though, like where Daniel sees the statue for Nebuchadnezzar, it's got like the big head of gold and the arms and chest of silver and the stomach and thighs of brass and the legs of iron and the feet of iron and clay. Well, the silver arms and breast, that is the Medo-Persian Empire. And Persia is Iran today. And they're Gentiles. People don't think they're Gentiles. They think they're Arabs. But no, Persia is a Gentile nation. Medes and Persia. They were the Gentile nation that took over, one of the four Gentile nations that ruled the entire world. First you had Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar, then you had the Medes and the Persians, then you had the Greeks, Alexander the Great and his 4 generals, and then you had Rome. And we're still in Rome right now. We're in the feet with the iron and clay. That's what we're in right now. So, Madai, the descendants of Madai became the Medes. And Javan, generally speaking, the descendants of Javan became the Greeks. It is also interesting to note that one of Javan's sons, Tarshish, has become what is today modern-day Spain. Tarshish is mentioned in a prophecy in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1 and 12. And Spain is mentioned in the book of Romans. You just go look up. Let's look at it real quick. I was looking it up earlier today, but we can do it. So Tarshish is considered Spain. Spain is in the book of Romans. Paul was talking about it. We'll read that real quick. Let's go to Romans chapter 15. Now, I didn't have this in the lesson, but I figured since Tarshish was in here, I got one of the descendants of Javan. We can skip to that real quick. But so we'll read Romans chapter 15. We're going to read verse 24. And then we're going to skip down to verse 28. Verse 24, Romans 15, verse 24. Whensoever I take my journey into Spain, talking about Tarshish, I will come to you. Now, this is Paul writing a letter to the Romans. For I trust to see you in my journey and to be brought on my way thitherward by you. If first I be somewhat filled with your company. Let's skip down to verse 28. It's going to mention it again. Verse 28. When therefore I have performed this and have sealed to them this fruit, I will come by you into Spain. Spain, Tarshish. Now I was looking at something earlier, and it had like Tarshish was like Spain before Portugal was part of it. The very western end of the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal, is Portugal. You know, the city of Lisbon, all the rest of it is Spain. That is, according to this, is Tarshish. Tripped out today. And okay, what kind of people are Spain and the Portuguese? Europeans, right? Caucasians, right? Gentiles, sons of Japheth. All this is lining up. We're getting an idea of who these sons of Japheth, who these nations are, where their descendants are, who are their descendants, who do they descend from? Son of Japheth. We're all linked to somebody. Japheth, Shem, or Ham, one of them. We got to be one of them. Let's keep going. Tubal. Go to Tubal. This is still according to messianic-revolution.com. Tubal. A bit of controversy on this one. However, I'll go with Josephus's take on the matter. Now, Josephus he was an Edomite historian, supposedly. I really want to go use this Josephus, but it's in here, so I'll mention it because it's in here. But there's a lot of a lot of people use Josephus. They say for historical purposes to say that things in the Bible are true or untrue. I try not to go to Josephus for anything. I'd rather look at it as something else, but it's mentioned here, so I just thought I'd mention it as well. I still think this is a pretty good site, even though he took a look at Josephus. But hey, maybe Josephus does have a lot of stuff right. Maybe he's got some stuff wrong. I'm not a Josephus researcher, but I know that he was like an Edomite Jew. So the Edomites had to convert to Judaism. They had to become a Jew. They made Jew a religion, not like a nation. A Jewish person actually a nation. They're part of the Israelites. One of the tribes of Israel is Judah, and that's where the term Jew comes from. When the land of Israel was split, the north became Israel, the south became Judah. Because the Jews and the Benjamites, and then the Levites were there as well in the south. All the other tribes were in the north. They were Israel. They're also called Ephraim. The north is called Ephraim. I think they might be called Jeshurun as well. All right. But anyway, that's a little bit of information about Josephus. Look him up if you want to. There's the book of Josephus. You can go and read it. I wouldn't I can't claim how credible it really is because I haven't done any research on it. I just know about it from being in his word, okay? All right, so, but Tubal, the descendants of Tubal with the Iberians, and the Iberian is the Iberian Peninsula. So they must have been hanging out with the Tarshites and the sons of Javan, or there before them, because Tubal would be the uncle of Javan. I mean, he would be the uncle of the descendants of Javan, who were one of the sons is Tarshish. All right. Identified the descendants of Tubal with Iberians, that is, the inhabitants of a tract of country between the Caspian and Euxine seas, Euxine seas, the Caspian and Euxine seas, which nearly corresponds to the modern Georgia. So where's Georgia? It's in Eastern Europe, more Caucasians. So we get an idea of who these descendants of Japheth are. Are we getting an idea of who the descendants of Japheth is? Obvious, according to this and what we read so far, and we're just on the sons of Japheth. We haven't even gotten into the sons of Gomer and then the sons of Javan. Well, some of the sons, we did Tarshish, Spain, still Europe, right? Keep going. Tyrus. Well, let's go Meshach first. Meshach. Meschech. Meschech. The descendants of Meshach were believed to have originated from the northeast of Asia Minor, particularly in the area that is now Turkey. So Turkey are descendants of Japheth, Gentiles. Now, like I said before, the Arabians came through and they conquered a lot of the lands around the Mediterranean. That's why you got like Egypt. They might consider them Arabian, but they're not. They're actually on the Ham. The original descendants of Egyptians are Hamites, but Arab went in and conquered a lot of the countries in northern Africa and made them take on the Muslim religion and become Arabian. Just like over here in the Western Hemisphere, the Gentiles came, or the Europeans came, took over the land, and now it's all the European country, right? What happened to the Native Americans that were living here? All right. They're still here, but they don't run anything here, right? So let's go back again. Meshach, the descendants of Meshach were believed to have originated from the northeast of Asia Minor, Turkey, particularly in the area that is now Turkey. Then they traveled north and settled in Rosh, which is modern-day Russia. Russia, Gentiles. All right, now we got one more here, Tyrus. From Tyrus came a group of people known as the Thracians, who became the Macedonians, from whom Alexander the Great came. Alexander the Great was from Macedonia. He wasn't a Greek. Conquered Greece and loved Greek heritage, and he became Alexander the Great from the ruler of Greece, and he ruled Greece. But then he died and his four generals took over. But he was the first king of Greece. Alexander the Great was. His father was the king of Macedonia. I don't know if he was the first king, but he was the king of Macedonia. And his son, Alexander the Great, became the first king of Greece. Look it up. Okay. Now, let's go to the sons of Gomer. Let's go back to Genesis. Genesis chapter 10. I'm going to read one verse. Genesis chapter 10, one verse 3. Genesis chapter 10, verse 3. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz and Riphath and Togarmah. So we got Gomer had three sons, Ashkenaz. Now you heard of these Ashkenazi Jews, right? A lot of people think that a lot of the Gentiles that are over there in Israel right now are like the Ashkenazi Jews. There's a recording I've got. Man, I can't remember the name. But there's a guy who says he is an Ashkenazi Jew, and he gave like a historical reference of how World War I started and the reasons behind it. Very interesting. If I can find it, I'll look it up and let you know. But I don't want to get into that right now. But that's Ashkenaz. Let's look it up. Well, I went to the website, michaelruark.blog. Michael Ruark, Ruark.blog. I think when I tried to upload this, I think Facebook blocked it. I think it doesn't like this one. It's blocking one of them. It's blocking one of these URLs that I got listed on this sheet. I think this is it. I'll find out after the lesson, though. But okay, michaelruark.blog. And we're going to look up, I looked up Ashkenaz, Ashkenaz, Ashkenaz. The name Ashkenazi, with an I at the end, derives from the biblical figure of Ashkenaz, the first son of Gomer, son of Japheth, son of Noah, and a Japhetic patriarch in the Table of Nations. See Genesis chapter 10, Table of Nations. The name of Gomer has often been linked to the ethnonym Cimmerians. Biblical Ashkenaz is usually derived from Assyrian Askuzai, Sunit form Askuzai Iskuzai, a people who expelled the Cimmerians from the Armenian area of the upper Euphrates, whose name is usually associated with the name of the Scythians, Scythians. The Scythians, also known as Scyth, Scyth. I wonder if they got the Sith from, I wonder if Star Wars got this from this, the Sith. I just thought of that. Anyway, Scyth, Saka, Sake. Okay, Sake with a K, Sakae, then Sake with a C, Sacae. Sai is Kuzai and Askuzai. Surrounding them as inhabiting large areas, Ashkuzai were a large group of Iranian nomads who were mentioned by the literate people surrounding them as inhabiting large areas in the central Eurasian steppes from about the 9th century BC up until the 4th century AD. The classical Scythians, known to ancient Greek historians, were located in the northern Black Sea and Caucasus region. Caucasus region. Who are the Caucasians? Gentiles. More white people. Nothing bad, nothing good, just what they are based on what the history we're looking up, just on this lineage, just on the genealogy. Japhetic, Gentile, that's what we're looking up here. We're not calling anybody names. We're not being racist or nothing like that. We're looking up the lineage of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and it says Caucasians here. And so far, all the people that we saw that are from the sons of Japheth are the nations of Europe and Asia Minor, some parts of Asia. So we get an idea who the Japheths are, where they are today, who lives there today. They have to do like a real big history lesson about all the wars, who conquered whom, or who invaded who, to really get a true sense of this. That's why I was going to take a long time to try to do this. But I said, if I try to do all that, I'll never get to this lesson. Let me just start. Let me start somewhere. At least get this on, right? So that's why I'm just doing it this way. Let's go back and read that again. We're in the middle of our Ashkenaz description. The classical Scythians, known to ancient Greek historians, were located in the northern Black Seas and Caucasus region. Other Scythian groups documented by Assyrian Achaemenid, Achaemenid, and Chinese sources show that they also existed in Central Asia, where they were referred to as the Iskuzai, Ashkuzai, Saka, 3 different names for them. Ashkenazi, so part of Gentile heritage there. You heard of these Ashkenazi Jews. Ashkenazi went to Israel, hung out with the Edomites that are living there, converted to Judaism. You got Ashkenazi Jews. They're not Israelites, though. They're not Semitic. They're not Shemites. They're not from the sons of Shem. These Ashkenazis not. Now the Edomites are, but the Ashkenazis aren't. They're from Japheth. Their heritage does not go back to Shem. It goes to Japheth. Important information to know. Now, let's go to the next son. As a matter of fact, we're almost done with this lesson because I didn't get a chance to do all the research on the sons of Javan. But this one I looked up the second son here. Well, wait a second. Let's see. Yeah, Riphath. The second son of Gomer, Riphath, Riphath. Now I went to BibleHub.com. BibleHub.com, and in BibleHub it gives you some Bible dictionaries. So we're going to read some of the Bible dictionaries that are in BibleHub.com regarding Riphath. First one is Smith's Bible Dictionary. Smith's Bible Dictionary on who Riphath is. Riphath. His name may be identified with the Riphaean Mountains. The Riphaean Mountains, i.e. the Carpathian range in the southeast of Dacia. Okay, and we're gonna read a little bit more about that, but let's go to the next one, the ATS Bible Dictionary. We're talking about Riphath, the second son of Gomer, the Gentiles. ATS Bible Dictionary. A northern nation descended from a grandson of Japheth, Riphath. The name is traced in that of the Riphaean Mountains, Riphoean, Riphoean Mountains in Russia. Where's Russia? It's in Europe. Where's Europe? Gentiles, Caucasians, right? Easton's Bible Dictionary. We're still talking about Riphath, second son of Gomer, Riphath. Easton's Bible Dictionary. Supposed to have been the ancestor of the Paphlagonians, Paphlagoниans. Riphath, supposed to have been the ancestor of the Paphlagonians. And we're going to look up who the Paphlagonians are too. We'll get to it. But first, let's go back to this Carpathian Mountains. That was mentioned earlier. We got to look up the Riphoean Mountains too. But Britannica.com. Now, they don't think they're blocking Britannica.com. Reputable encyclopedia, right? Yeah, maybe. Britannica.com, Carpathian Mountains. Where are the Carpathian Mountains? Carpathian Mountains, a geologically young European mountain chain. Oh, they're in Europe. Sons of Japheth, going back to Europe again. A geologically young European mountain chain forming the eastward continuation of the Alps. Where are the Alps? Swiss Alps. Switzerland. Where is Switzerland? Europe. Gentiles, Japheth, Caucasians. From the Dunabi Gap near Bratislava, Slovakia. Where is Slovakia? Where is Slovakia? Eastern Europe. They swung in a wide crescent-shaped arc some 900 miles. Some 900 miles long near Orsovo, Romania. Where's Romania? Europe. At the portion of the Dunabi River Valley called the Iron Gate. Continuing on with Britannica.com. Looked up Dacia. 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 In antiquity, an area of Central Europe bounded by the Carpathian Mountains and covering much of the historical region of Transylvania. Where's Transylvania? Europe. Eastern Europe. Modern North Central and Western Romania. Where's Romania? Europe again. I think it's made pretty clear here who these sons of Japheth are, where their lands are. Europe. Caucasians. Some parts of Asia. All right, let's go to thefreedictionary.com, thefreedictionary.com, look up Paphlagonians, 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 Paphlagonia, ancient country of North Asia Minor, between Bithynia and Pontus on the Black Sea coast, in modern Turkey. A mountainous district with the Halys, Halys, as its chief river. Paphlagonia had a string of Greek colonies, including Sinope along its coast. It was not a political unit and was annexed and occupied by the kings of Bithynia and Pontus, respectively. It was won in 63 BC by the Romans. Who were the Romans? They're the last Gentile nation who we're under right now. All right, we got one more sun. The Riffian Mountains, I looked it up. It was like just in Russia, mountain range in Russia. There's another thing about the Riffians. I think it's like some mythological thing was named Riffian or something like that. So disregard that one. We're looking for the real, true Riffian Mountains that are in Russia and the Paphlagonians, etc. All right. The third song, Togarmah, Togarmah, Togarmah. And I went to HebrewNations.com, looked up Togarmah. Togarmah, the brother of Ashkenaz, has been identified with the region of Tilgarimu, Tilgarimu, just north and northeast of Cilicia in southeast Turkey of today, another part of Turkey. The Hittites called the region Tegarama. Later, Anatolia, also known as Asia Minor, Turkey, was conquered by the Turkish-speaking groups who imposed their language and aspects of their culture. They became the Turks of Turkey. Physically, most of them were descended from the previous inhabitants of the area. Not only that, but the Turkish tribes themselves who had emerged from Central Asia were also associated with Togarmah. Some of them may even have once emerged from Anatolia and gone northward. Depictions of ancient Hittites show some have been of Nordic type appearances. Nordic, where's the Nordics from? It's like the Vikings. More Europeans, right? More Caucasians. Sons of Japheth. Others Armenoid, and still others Mongoloid. Where's Mongol? The country Mongol. It's in Asia. Mongoloid features, right? All right. All right, we got one more for today. I know it was a short lesson today, right? Maybe was that an hour already? Anyway, so this last one here is about the sons of Javan. Let's read it real quick. Genesis chapter 10, verse 4, and we'll do the rest of this tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next week. And I'll get more information on these last four sons that are mentioned here in the Bible, the sons of Javan. But Genesis chapter 10, we're going to read verse 4. The sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. So those are the four. We read a little about Tarshish. We know that Tarshish is now called Spain. And it's probably got some Portuguese in there as well because it was the Iberian Peninsula. And we'll do some research about Elisha and Kittim and Dodanim. I think I might have a little bit about Elisha. Give me a quick second here. Let me look it up. But I think I do have some information about Elisha. I think I started it. Yeah. Let's go to, this has come from BibleAtlas.org. BibleAtlas.org. And I looked up Elisha. And there's some information about the Isle of Elisha. The Isle of Elisha is actually mentioned in Ezekiel chapter 27, verse 7. And here's, let's go to, before we read it real quick, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 27, verse 7. Ezekiel chapter 27, verse 7. The Isle of Elisha, talking about the son of Javan, the son of Japheth, the son of Noah. Ezekiel 27, verse 7. Fine linen with broidered work from Egypt was that which thou spreadest forth to be thy sail. Blue and purple from the Isles of Elisha was that which covered thee. There's another reference about Elisha too, but let me see if I can find that one. And that is, that's about Tarshish. Well, we'll get to more to Elisha a little bit later. But Tarshish, real quick, there's another one here about Tarshish. This is from BibleHub.net. We went to Bible Hub before. And some more information about Tarshish, who was the second son of Javan. And says, Tarshish and surrounding area maps created from Bible Hopper. No, not that one. Tarshish, Spain. Anciently, it was the whole peninsula inclusive of Portugal. And you can read that in Romans chapter 15, verse 25 and 28, which we did already. So that'll do it for today. I hope it was interesting. We read some information about Noah and the ark. Well, we didn't really get into the ark and the animals or any of that stuff. But we saw the guy was displeased. Made some comparisons of today. Didn't even have a chance to take a break today, which is, that's cool. We got through the sons of Japheth. We got 4 more to go. Well, we'll do Cilicia, Tarshish, and then we'll also look again next week, and we'll also include Kittim and Dodanim, and then we'll get into the sons of Ham. So these aren't really that long. I mean, you can go on and on and on if you want to do some real research. I don't have that much time, that much free time to really put into it. But I wanted to give you an idea of just who these people actually are today. It's interesting to me, to find out who is who, because the whole world doesn't really know. We're just going along with it. We got our own identifications today. But, go back to the Bible and read who are the people, who they really are. What happened in this world? How did certain people and nations become that? That's just interesting to me. So hope it was edifying. And we'll continue next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Bible Show. I'm your host, Jeff Hudson, once again. And remember to read your Bible. Stay safe. There's still this COVID thing is out here. And keep the commandments and laws and statutes of God Almighty, and keep the faith of Jesus Christ. Till next week,